FlossTube, it's Jen from Delicious Threads. Today is Thursday, January 5th, and this is my end of December, end of 2016 update video. I was really hoping to finish a couple more projects before the end of the year, especially since one of them was for a gift, but that didn't really happen. I'll show you those when I show you my whips. So December, I have one piece of haul. So I'm just going to show that to you now. I got the DMC color card that has the actual threads in it. I was really excited to have one. I have wanted one of these for a really long time. I started designing cross-stitch patterns in 2012, and I couldn't find a card with the actual threads on it that wasn't a bazillion dollars and shipped from Europe. I've had the printed card for a while, but a lot of the colors, if you look at it, aren't good. So if you compare the actual floss color card to the printed one, especially like in this area, is where I first was kind of comparing them. These colors on the card look like they're really retouched and edited to try to get a similar shade to what the thread actually looks like, and it just looks really bad. And some of them aren't even the right color. So I'm excited to have this now. It'll definitely help when I am swapping out colors or when I am designing new patterns. For my projects, I'm going to show you all of the projects I worked on in 2016 and one that I'm still considering a whip, I think, even though I have not stitched on it in a couple of years and I didn't stitch on it at all in 2016. But I'm going to continue on with it possibly next year, so I figure I'll show it. So the first project that I was hoping to finish last year that I did not finish was my train ornament. And there just was not enough time to finish this with all of the other things I had to do. So I needed to make my daughter's Halloween stocking? We don't have Halloween stockings. What am I even thinking? I needed to make her a Christmas stocking because this is her first, or was her first Christmas, so she didn't have one yet. I did some Christmas crafting with the kids because they were home from, or on school break. I had some other homemade Christmas, and I just didn't get this one done. But I have a head start for next year. The second project I did stitch on in December was my Once Upon a Time sampler, and I was working on December. I think the last time you saw it, I had the border on the side and the snow and snowflakes at the top, and maybe some of Hansel. I can't remember if I had any of him done. So I did the little house, started on Gretel, finished filling in the trees. This one is close. It won't take too much more time to finish up. I just need to actually do it. And then after I finish December, I do need to go back and finish up the rest of the border. And I'm still trying to decide what I should do in that bottom middle portion, because I used the example, that's where they put the year, but I don't think I'm going to do that. And here is the piece right now. I'm hoping this will be an early 2017 finish since it's so close to being done. I have a couple other things that I'm going to be working on in January, so I don't know if I'm really going to focus on that one too much right now, but I do want to finish it early so I can get it framed. So those are the only things I worked on in the rest of December. So all the other pieces I'm going to show you are just my whips, so that I kind of have a marking point to show where I was at the beginning of this year. So next up is the giant Harry Potter. And I have all of the leafy border at the top, a little bit of Slytherin, the bottom part of Gryffindor, and my sparkly HP. I was hoping that I'd finish this in 2017, but I am realistic and I know that there is a chance that that's not enough time. This thing is huge, look. So this was pretty much all of the stitching I could get done in a month's time plus a little bit. And granted, I was trying to stitch on other things and have been busy with kiddos, and it may not always be like that. But that's that little bit, and there is all of this fabric left with more design on it. So this one's going to take a while. I am hoping to finish it this year, but it's okay if I don't. I am going to try my best. I have not stitched on it, I think, since October, maybe the beginning of November. So I am going to get back to that, stitching it with Stephanie from Stephanie's Tiny X's, and I know she's taking a break from it too. She's working on a Haid that she really likes, but I'm behind where she is, and so I'd like to at least get caught up to where she is so we can kind of have a little bit of that support to hopefully get more of it done this year. Next up is my fantasy stitch along, the Lakeside Needlecraft with Doreen Jones. And I only have the August part done, my little Pegasus. And then I have 2 of the circles. And this is on a piece of fabric that I hand dyed myself. Definitely don't want this fabric that I dyed to go to waste, so I would like to finish this at some point. I set it aside when I was trying to focus on this cat. There we go. Hey, shoo. Go, go, go. Scoot over there. Clean yourself on that side. I don't know what Apollo. Just lay down. Okay. Oh well. At least it's not his butt, right? And that's a quick view at Roxy, our little red Dobie. I say little, but she's not little. She's like 75 pounds. Stitching this on a piece that I hand dyed, really like the fabric, want to make sure I continue it, love the designs, don't really like stitching it, I'm not sure where I stopped. I think it was that part. So I wasn't really enjoying stitching the Pegasus, and so I took a break from it. I wanted to work on my Once Upon a Time sampler and try to finish that before the end of the year. And so now that it's a new year, I am going to try to get back to this one at some point, but I don't know. I'm hoping I'll like some of the other designs better. I mean, I like the design. I don't like stitching the design. One thing I have decided for this piece is I am not going to stitch the wider border on the outside. The bottoms of the circles kind of have like a little swirly design to them, and there are some little corner pieces, and I think there might be a little bit of like the dark blue in there to help kind of make that an inside border. That's all I'm going to stitch. I'm just going to stitch the inside border. I'm not going to do the outside one. And I think it'll look really pretty. It will be a little daintier, I guess. But when I get back to this project, I think that's one thing that will keep me going on it, is not having to stitch that outer border. Because that thing's crazy. And it's pretty, but I don't know that I like it enough to spend that much time on it, and I'm worried that if I try to stitch it, I will end up giving up on the project completely. So we'll see how that goes. Next up, I have my beautiful Sea Sal by Ship's Manor, and I am using the Ship's Manor threads. I didn't get very far. Hopefully I get to this one again soon. Next up is Halloween Cat by Satsuma Street. And I do plan on stitching Halloween and Christmas stuff all year round, so this will probably get pulled out again before October. I love that one. Little kitty whiskers. Then I have my National Parks Sal. Or National Parks Birthday Club, sorry. And this one, I told you before, I'm stitching for my mom. I was really hoping to have more time and be able to work on this for a Christmas present for her, but there just was not enough time. There just is never enough time. So she is finishing up her program that she has to do to become a forest ranger, and she'll be done in June. So my new goal is to have this finished and ready to give her as a graduation gift in June. I can't stop looking at this cat. Okay, come on. Alphabet Learning by Soda Stitch. I still only have my little lone octopus. When I finished with my octopus and I did my update video, I think I told you guys I had done the math, and if I had stitched at that current pace, I wouldn't finish this until September of 2018. Well, I haven't stitched any of the other letters since then, so I'm really going to take a long time on this one now if I keep up that pace. So 25 more letters. If you've seen this one, I'm leaving off the alphabet at the bottom. I'm just doing the little characters with the words or the names for what they are. Next up is from Clouds Factory, Zodiac Sampler. I love this project. I don't know why I set this one aside for so long. So, oops. That's what I have so far. I think I got through Taurus, so that's like May. And I've talked about it before, my moons, all of the white in the moons, all of these stars in here, all of the stars and the lines for the constellations, and all the little stars, the white stars here, and all the little stars in the zodiac signs. Those are all stitched in glow-in-the-dark DMC. So this looks really neat in the dark. I love this one. I can't wait to get back to it. I love this fabric. This is the called for fabric from Picture This Plus. I think it's Gothic. Really want to get that one done and framed and hung up. Next is Emerald City by Satsuma Street on Jody Rice. That's as far as I got. This is on a piece of Platinum Aida that I had in my stash. I really wanted to start it. I think it was for a stitch along. And so I just used what I had. And I really did not like stitching on Aida. And it reminded me why I don't like stitching on Aida. And so I have been planning to swap out the fabric for a while, and I just haven't done it yet. So I'm still going to do that. This is the pattern if you don't remember. If this is in Cross Stitch Crazy May 2016, it's number 215. If you don't have the magazine, you can buy this in the Satsuma Street Etsy shop now, so you don't have to have the magazine. I have seen some people stitch this on aqua fabric, and I think at least one of them was like the, I can't remember what they call it, but it's like an aqua Aida, and it's really bright and pretty. And then I saw somebody else stitch it too, I think on aqua. So my plan has been to dye a piece of aqua fabric. So I actually dyed some fabric last night, and it didn't turn out as dark as I had originally thought that I wanted, but it actually just kind of looks like blue for you. But I like it. It's a very pale aqua. So I'm planning to restart this year, actually this month for a stitch along. There, you can see the aqua a little better there. Yeah. And my last project is the one that I told you about that I did not stitch in 2016. It's still sitting in my whips pile, but it might become a UFO. We'll see. This is my Storytime sampler from Frosted Pumpkin Stitchery. And I set this one aside. I didn't like stitching it. I didn't like stitching individual X's for the lacy border with the hand-dyed threads. It seemed like a lot of work to me for very little payoff because the threads are so lightly variegated that you can barely tell. This is the first time I used higher than like a 28 count fabric, and I think just a whole bunch of stuff together made it so that I didn't really enjoy stitching it. So I set it aside, and then for a while it was actually lost, and then I found it again. I am keeping it with my whips for now, but it is very low priority for me. So we'll see if that one ever comes out again. So that's all I stitched in 2016. Well, those are all my whips that I have left. I did have a whole whopping 2 finishes. So I know there are people that have videos of all of their finishes from 2016, and it takes a couple minutes to get through all of them, and they're all beautiful and wonderful. Instead of subjecting you to a like 2-second video of my 2 whips, I'm just going to show you. This one is Hot Air Balloon, and I believe it's Fuzzy Fox Designs on Etsy. And both of my finishes are also fully finished. This is the one I think I showed you before. I do like a little gathering stitch for the extra fabric behind, and then I hand stitch a little round of felt to the back. And doing that gathering stitch really makes it stay pretty tight. And I painted my hoop. My other finish, you saw this one, I think in my last video, maybe it was a little before that, is my little Christmas light ornament. So there you have it. 2 finishes! And they're both really little. Next year, though, I am determined to have a lot more finishes. So that's it for 2016. I'm looking forward to 2016, and I want to do the year in review tag. And hopefully I have enough time. I need to leave soon to go pick up my son from school, and both girls are napping, and I don't know how long that'll last. So I'm going to try to get through as much as I can. So if you haven't seen it yet, Jessie Marie on Jessie Marie Does Stuff, she has the year in review tag questions in her year in review video, so you can just get them there. So the first category is favorites and least favorites. So favorite whip is my Zodiac sampler. I love that one, and I can't wait for that to be a finish. My least favorite, I guess, is Storytime sampler, considering I might make that a UFO. My favorite finish, I only had 2 this year, so there's not a lot to pick from, but I would say my hot air balloon probably took the most thought for finishing, and I really like the way it looks. I need to still hang it up into my daughter's room. Least favorite finish, process of elimination, I guess my ornament. One thing that I don't like about it is that it's still stuffed with cotton balls, so I'm going to fix that at some point, maybe. My favorite FFO and finishes are the same because I had the 2 and they're the same answers. My favorite new start, I think, would be my Halloween cat, because he's really cute and I like Halloween a lot, and yeah, I think it's a great pattern. My least favorite new start, I don't know if I have a least favorite. Well, I guess I'll say my Emerald City, because I really didn't like the fabric that it was on, and so I'm hoping that by changing the fabric I will love it. My favorite tool, I guess my Lowry stand. I had not used a stitching stand before. Before this year, I hadn't used any sort of lap stand or anything. Oh, wait, that's not true. I did use one, but it was not good, so we're not going to count that. But I haven't, this is the first experience I've had with a real stand, and it has made a huge difference in my stitching quality and speed, and I really like it. Least favorite tool, probably the John James needles that I tried out. I did not like those. I tried some of the petites, and I tried the gold-plated petites, and I didn't like them. My favorite technique, two-handed stitching, is the best, and having a stand now, I can two-hand stitch like nobody's business. Before that, I used to do it with my little Q-snap, because I would sit in weird positions on the couch so I could prop up my Q-snap and stitch two-handed, but now I don't have to do that. Now I can sit like a normal person. My least favorite technique, I don't know. I don't really like making French knots. I don't know. Favorite material, I really like even weave. I mean, I like linen too, but I like the way that my stitches don't have to be particularly even. Like, I like linen, I like the slubs, and I like how, you know, it can give it a specific look, but with even weave I really like that all of my X's are exactly the same size. So my least favorite material I've commented on is probably Aida. I will still stitch on Aida. My little ornament is actually stitched on Aida, and I enjoyed stitching this piece, but this Aida, it was like really soft. It's the like silver dust Aida. But in general, I don't enjoy stitching on Aida anymore. Favorite pattern release of 2016? I don't know. Death by Cross Stitch is really neat. I have it. I have all of my stuff for it, and I haven't started it yet, but I'm excited to, and I think it's beautiful. So Death by Cross Stitch. And I don't have a least favorite. For how many? Let's see. How many whips at the start of the year? I think I had 2. Storytime Sampler and Once Upon a Time Sampler. I had 2. My whips at the end of the year, I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. 11 starts, or 11 whips. Starts during the year. Well, let's do some math. So that would be 9 new ones plus 2 finishes. So 11 new starts during the year. 2 FFOs that are temporary. We could say that my Storytime Sampler is a temporary UFO right now. And then for permanent, I have some from when I was stitching a long time ago, and I think there are like 2 or 3 of those. I haven't been able to find them anywhere, so I may have gotten rid of them. But Storytime might be inching toward permanent UFO. We'll see. Full coverage pages completed? None. I don't do full coverage. None of those. Hades are beautiful. I have been tempted to try one out, but I don't think that fits my stitching style, and I don't think I would ever finish one. I mean, I can't finish little things, so I definitely won't be able to finish a Hade. My first start of the year last year was my Zodiac Sampler. I started that like the first or second day of the year. And my last start was, I don't know. I might be wrong, but I think it might have been the National Parks Birthday Club. Yeah, maybe I should have looked these up before. My first finish of the year was my hot air balloon, and my last finish of the year was my ornament. Having only 2 finishes, I guess, makes answering some of these really easy. Regrets. Regretful purchase. None. I only buy stuff if I like it. We'll see if I regret it in another year if there are things that I just don't end up using. But as of right now, I don't regret any of my purchases. A regretful start. I don't know. Maybe story time, because I don't know if I'm ever going to finish it. Oh, wait, I didn't start that this year, though. Never mind. Scratch that. No, none. Regretful stopping. Yes, like all of my whips, because there are a bunch that I just set aside to work on other things, and then I never got to them. My Zodiac Sampler especially, I really want to finish that one, and it has been set aside since, I think, May, so I could work on other projects, and I really want to get back to it. Regrets for not participating. No, because I think I just like participate in everything, so I can't regret it if I participate in everything, right? This year I am not. Oh, actually, I did not participate in the Clouds Factory or the Frosty Pumpkin Stitchery sales from 2016, and I don't regret it, so that doesn't really answer the question. So anything that I started because I really wanted to do it. So new or new to me? So a new to me tool. There are a couple of tools that I have purchased that I haven't had a chance to try out yet, so maybe I could talk about those in 2017. I guess the only tool is my Lowry stand. Like I said, I love it. New or new to me technique. The Vanna's two-handed stitching technique, where you come back up from the back of the fabric with the eye of the needle so that you don't twist your threads. I tried that out. Really good going in the first leg direction and then not on the way back, and I keep, I don't know, seeing if I can do it better, and I'm not sure. Like, I like it, and I did use it a lot on my train ornament because I think the needle slides through that like more smoothly because it's plastic canvas than it does on fabric. And I think the last time I tried it, it was on my Once Upon a Time sampler, and that is a sparkly fabric, and so I think that sometimes the thread was catching on those like sparkly threads, and I was having a hard time, and I was getting drag, and it was messing things up. So I'm gonna keep trying it to see if I can get it to work for me, but that is probably the new technique that I remember most from this year. New or new to me designer, there are a bunch of designers that I learned about this year. This community really opens your eyes to the vast world of cross-stitch patterns. I would say that one of my favorite new ones to me this year is ink circles. I have a few of their patterns that I'll be stitching up in this coming year. New to me threads. I had used Weeks Dye Works before, and I've used like Mosale. So other threads, silks. I hadn't purchased any silks before this year, so that's a new to me thread. New to me vendor, I don't think I had started giving all of my money to 123 Stitch yet. That is probably my favorite new vendor. Before that, I kind of just got stuff at like Joann's when I was there. So 123 Stitch, best ever. New terminology. FOMO, fear of missing out, is a new one for me. FlossTube channels, all of them. I didn't start looking at FlossTube until this year, so every FlossTube channel ever is new to me, and I'm really enjoying FlossTube. I watch most of the day, almost every day, and I think that it's an awesome way for us all to connect with each other. So, a mix of questions. What did I learn this year? I learned Vanna's stitching technique. I learned that I think I have more time than I really do to stitch. Okay, so these are not really where it's going. So what did I learn? I learned how to use silks. I learned by teaching myself and watching videos and stuff, I learned about fabric dyeing and floss dyeing. What else did I learn? I think that's maybe it. Yeah. What did you teach someone this year? I taught a few people what I had learned about dyeing fabrics, and I still really want to make a video or a couple of videos showing how I dye fabrics and some of the info that I have found about it, and my experiences with dyeing, and maybe tips and tricks that I have for fabric and floss dyeing. Did you become real-life friends with any stitchers you knew via social media previously? So I didn't really get super involved with the social media community for stitchers until this year. I have met with some other stitchers in real life. That was in December, November, I don't remember. December, I think, when met up at a needle and haystack with Vanna, and when she came to visit, and met up with some of the NorCal stitchers. So that's the only experience I've had with like meeting people in person. Other than that, there are a few people that I will send messages back and forth with. So that's really fun too, because like I've said before, I don't have stitching friends in real life. I don't have stitching friends in my immediate family or my immediate group of friends. I am trying to convert a bunch of people, so hopefully my my stitching friends pool will grow. But right now, yeah, most of the people that I know that stitch are from FlossTube and from the Facebook groups. Let's see. Are you happy with what you accomplished this year? No. I mean, yes, I'm happy with the stitching that I've done, and no, because I wish I could have done more. Similar, what are your goals for 2016, or what were my goals, and do they measure up? If you think about it that way, my goals were really just to stitch more, and I did that. Instead of stitching on like one piece at a time, which was more of what I did before, or like I had like two at a time, I think. I expanded and I have more whips at a time. So the stitching might be similar, but just spread out over more projects. It doesn't seem like very much. So if the goal was to stitch more, it's possible that I met that. And like I said, I am happy with what I've stitched. I just wish I could have had even more stitching done. Has your stitching style or organization changed during the year? If so, how? Yes, I actually kind of change the way I organize things fairly often because I'll like get a tip or an idea from somebody and I'll try to see if that works for me, or I'll have like I'll need to move stuff so that we can use an area for something different than what it's being used for now, and I'll have to figure out a new way to organize things. So I feel like my organization is constantly changing and evolving. One big thing this year is that I have been switching to bobbins, and I used to hate bobbins, and I kind of don't really like them all that much now anyway, even though I am using them. But the storage of floss seems to be more compact on the bobbins. I have probably 1,000 skeins of just regular DMC. Plus I have some hand dyeds and everything. So it takes up a lot of room. And right now I think bobbins are going to work the best for me. So I've been switching over to that. So that's the biggest change that I've made in 2016. And I'm still making it. Did you fall victim to FOMO, fear of missing out? Ooh. So, yes. Part of me wishes I had waited a little bit for the fantasy sale. But honestly, I probably would have purchased it and ended up in the same spot that I'm in now because the pattern is beautiful and I love the designs, but it's just the actual stitching of the designs that I wasn't enjoying. So I don't think that if I had waited, the result would have been different on that one. And then I didn't do the year-long sales from Frosted Pumpkin or from Clouds Factory, and I'm glad I didn't, because I like to travel and I like things from other countries, but I don't think that I would have enjoyed stitching those two projects in particular. There's another part to that. Were there any projects that you would pass on starting if you were given the chance? Oh, okay, so yeah, like I said, I probably still would have ended up stitching Fantasy Sal. Did you participate in any sals? If so, which one was your favorite? I was doing the Fantasy Sal, and the other two that I did are technically sals, but they're over. So my Once Upon a Time sampler, that was a sal from Frosted Pumpkin in 2014, and the Zodiac sampler was a past sampler from Clouds Factory. So most of the ones that I did, I kind of did them as sals. I tried to stitch in the month that I was stitching on the pattern, but it wasn't really an official sal. I also started the Beautiful Sea Sal. I purchased patterns for a couple other sals that I hadn't actually, or have not started yet, and I might be able to get caught up on some of those before they finish, but I don't know if I will. Did I have a favorite? No. What did you learn about yourself through your stitching this year? I don't know. I like stitching a wider variety of patterns than I thought I did a year ago. The types of patterns that I have gotten in this past year has definitely been a lot broader than what I was stitching before that. And a lot of that is due to watching FlossTube videos and looking at people's beautiful projects on Instagram and in the Facebook groups and being enabled. What was your favorite event that I participated in this year? I really like doing the color challenges. Sometimes I would have a hard time with some of the other ones trying to find a pattern that fit a specific theme or whatever, but with the colors, I could probably find something to start with the color, or that had that color in it or was on that kind of fabric. And so those ones were probably the easiest for me to participate in, and they were only like one day, so I didn't have to try to find stitching for a whole week or a whole month. It's just sit down and try to stitch a little bit in that color. So those ones were fun. This year I'm trying to, or in 2017, I'm going to try to participate in more. I wanted to do more last year, but I just wasn't very organized about it. So this year I'm trying to up my organization. Were there any 2016 stitching fads that you didn't jump on the bandwagon for that I'm still considering? I don't think so. I don't know. I don't think so. Let's see. 2017. Looking forward. What project are you most looking forward to starting? I am really excited to start the Clouds Factory SAL for 2017, the famous women in history. From the previews, I think I'm really going to like it. And I have 2 daughters, but I mean for my son too. But especially for my 2 daughters, I would love to show them strong and influential women from history. Hey, go somewhere else. What project are you most looking forward to finishing? My Zodiac sampler. I'm excited to see that one. That one's for me. I'm also really excited to finish my Once Upon a Time sampler. That one is going to go in my daughter's room, and she's really excited to have it finished. Every time she sees it, she says, "That's mine." So I know that, I mean, the look on her face when it's done and framed and ready for her is going to be priceless. So that one too, but for me as a personal project, I'm really excited for the Zodiac sampler. Do you intend to be more determined or laid back in your stitching? I plan to be laid back. I have discovered, so I guess this is something I learned about myself, that I can't be too rigid. I can't be too planned. I need to just stitch what I feel like stitching when I feel like stitching it. I want to be more organized with knowing what SALs are coming up so that I can decide if I want to participate, not that I'm going to participate in all of them. So laid back. I think laid back works better for me. What event are you most looking forward to participating in? I don't know. There's so many events now, and I'm in more than one group, and so it feels like there are events all the time, and honestly I haven't looked through all of them yet. I don't know. Stitchy resolutions for next year. I'm going to try to not have as much haul. I'm actually participating in Stitch from Stash, and we'll see how that goes. I would like to finish some projects, so I'm also in Year of Whips, and all of the projects that I showed you as whips from this year are in my Year of Whips, so I'm hoping to get a bunch of those done. And to finish getting my stuff organized. So I'm still bobbinating and labeling things, and I want to figure out a better way to store my whips so I can get at everything I need. So try to be more organized too. Am I participating in SALs? Right now, I am going to be participating in the Clouds Factory SAL. There are other ones too. Oh, I'm doing the Under the Sea SAL from Lakeside Needlecraft. Excuse me. And yeah, I don't know. There will probably be others. Any material, stitches, techniques that I'd like to try this year? I want to make my first Biscornu. I don't know. I guess that. Okay, last section. This is non-stitching stuff. So, what was the best thing to happen to you this year? And without a doubt, that was having baby number 3. And she's actually coming around over here right now and smacking the computer. That's probably super loud. Don't do that. Hi. Last question is, what are your goals for 2017? I'm not sure if you know of Word of the Year. But the idea is that you pick a word, and that word is something that you want to work on for the coming year. And in 2015, the word I chose was finish, because I was hoping to finish what I had started. So I had lots of crafting projects and home projects and other things that I got started or was in the planning stages and never finished. And I really wanted to be better about finishing things. In 2016, my word was organize. And I was hoping to just, in general, I like to be organized, but I find that it's easy for me to become unorganized because there's just so much going on. And so I really wanted to go through our whole house and declutter and reorganize everything. I wanted to find a better way to organize my crafting stuff so that I could actually find the things that I needed when I needed them. Just organize everything that I could organize. This year, for 2017, the word I have chosen is balance. And I want to do a better job of finding balance between the things that matter most to me in my life. And those things are family. And in family, I include my friends and extended family. My home, so keeping up with my home, and that includes, ooh, you okay? You're fine. That includes like decluttering and going through everything. I would hope to go through everything we own and declutter and reorganize in the next couple of months, preferably before the mid-year mark. My business takes up a lot of time. I'm a one-woman show. And luckily, and I'm very grateful for this, my Etsy shop and my Facebook Needleminder group are both doing really, really well. And a lot of that is in part to this community, the FlossTube community, the stitching community on Facebook, being so supportive of other stitchers and small businesses, including mine, and I just really appreciate it. And so it's a good problem to have, to be really busy, but now I have to figure out a good way to balance that with other things in my life. And then the last thing is just myself, taking time for myself, taking time for me to do things that I love, like stitching, taking time for me to take care of myself, to work on my health and getting into better physical shape and just feeling healthier and happier. So all of those things need to happen, and it's easy for things to become unbalanced. And I know there's a lot of give and take. That's just natural. So there will be times where family takes up more of your time, and so you don't do things like take care of your house or take care of yourself. But I want to try to find a better balance so that I can do more of those things well instead of trying to do everything and not doing them well. Balance. So I'd love to know what your word of the year is, or what it would be if you picked one, if you're not going to, and you can comment down below. I love sharing this sort of information. I love being inspired by what other people are doing to try to improve in the new year. Yeah, so I'd love it if you shared. So I guess that's it. There's a chance that while trying to strive for balance, I might record videos less frequently. Right now I'm doing twice a month, so mid-month and end of month, and I'm considering switching to just end of month and doing that when I haven't had a lot of time to stitch, which kind of feels like that's what it's been the last few months. That would give me more time to do stitching and more stuff to show you. And then also it would be easier for me most of the time because setting up to record takes forever, especially when I'm trying to fit it around 3 kids' schedules and trying to find a time when they're not going to be yelling and screaming and trying to make faces at you. So yeah, I might switch to once a month, but we'll see what happens in the next few weeks. So I will see you in a couple of weeks. I hope that your year is off to a great start. I hope you have lots of fun stitchy time, and until then, happy stitching.